Hello, guys. Welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you like the background. As we're talking about childhood, we thought we'd have a nice cartoon background.
Nice window above my head.
Yeah, kind of framing your picture. Okay, guys, can you introduce yourself and complete the sentence? I miss or I don't miss being a child because. Jess, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Jess. I come from England, from London. I've been living in Bologna for a year and 8 months. I've been working for my English school for 1 year, nearly. And okay, I miss being a child because I miss like my best friend who grew up next to me. So we would just spend our days playing together. I miss that. I don't miss my childhood because I don't miss. I like now having like independence, having the freedom to do what I want when I want. And I don't miss school. I didn't like school that much.
Really?
So yeah, like 2 reasons.
Nice. Yeah, one positive, one negative.
I miss being a child when like the only thing I had to worry about was who stole my pencil rather than how am I paying my bills.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I can see we have 2 people. Please introduce yourselves and complete the sentence. I miss or I don't miss being a child because. So my name is Emily and I work with Jess too, in Bologna for my English school. I'm originally from Leicester in the UK, which is famous for the football club. I think I miss being a child for the friendships. I think when you're a child, you have really strong connections with people, especially if you grow up together from when you're very young. So I think I miss being a child because of the close friendships.
Yeah.
And you see each other every day. So it's really difficult when you're an adult. Even if you have a close friendship, you don't spend as much time with each other usually.
Yeah.
Sorry, close friendships. I guess I don't miss being a child because maybe you don't have autonomy, you don't have independence, as you said.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't make decisions.
And I don't miss having to do homework.
I don't miss being a child because you had to do homework.
Also, I don't miss the childish school dramas either. Like when you're an adult, like the small things that would like be such a big deal in school are now just so insignificant.
Yeah, really petty problems.
Yeah, petty problems.
Yeah, like, oh, he doesn't like me, she doesn't like me, or like little arguments.
Also, being a child when you start, I guess it's more when you're a teenager, when you start going through puberty, and it's like you hit those years of like having the worst self-confidence ever. Like you're becoming insecure about everything. I don't miss that. That was not.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. The insecurity. Don't miss the insecurity. Also, you tend to have problems when you go through puberty. Maybe you get spots, you get acne. You're not really sure what's happening with your body. So that kind of adds to the insecurity.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Guys, I can see there are 3 people. Please introduce yourself and complete the sentence. I miss or I don't miss being a child because.
Hello from Milan. Hello. I miss being a child because we don't use hadn't here, but didn't. So I didn't have worries. I didn't have
Yeah.
any.
Perfect. Didn't have worries. Yeah, there's a nice word, carefree. Children are carefree. No worries. Perfect.
Very nice.
Definitely. I think that's the positive thing about being a child. You don't have worries, you don't have responsibilities. You spend lots of time with your friends. Excellent. So we have Marcello, welcome. Anyone else who's joining us, tell us what you miss or don't miss about being a child. And maybe in the meantime, let's move on to the focus for today. So we're talking about childhoods. Jess, do you want to read for me?
In this focus activity, memory and childhood, talking about my childhood, used to and would for past, verbs and phrases for childhood.
Excellent.
Did you ever ride on a school bus?
No, I didn't. I rode on like a normal bus to get to school, not a specific bus. And you?
Yeah, I was just, for me, it was just the red London bus, not a specific school bus.
Yeah,
I think
I feel like
that's an American thing.
yeah, definitely. I feel like the yellow school bus is really American. Hi, Tony. I was a fairly spiffing day, old chap. Very British. Good. I miss being a child because I had long brown hair. Okay. Excellent. Thick hair. I thought maybe it might be useful to look at these 4 words that are really similar. And look at the difference. So we have memory, remember, remind, and memorize. So can you guys tell us what are the differences? What does it mean? What is memory? What is remember? What is remind? And what is memorize? Maybe you can think about, is it a verb? Is it a noun? Does it mean?
Memorize.
Jess, do you remember a lot of things from your childhood? Do you have a good memory?
I actually don't, no. I don't. So sometimes it's strange. I think it's like particular memories though. You know, when your brain is like holds on to random things, but then
Yeah.
for example, my best friend will tell me a memory that I'd completely forgotten. And she reminds me, giving you some help here. She will remind me of these memories.
Yeah. I think sometimes other people remember better than you.
Yeah.
Especially maybe parents or people who were older at the time.
Yeah.
My parents often tell me about things I did when I was younger that I don't remember. Okay, so maybe let's talk about memory. If you guys want to tell us about remind or remember or memorize. Jess, what is memory?
Memory is, it's really hard to explain actually. Things that you store in your mind. And there's the classic thing of when you get old, you often lose your memory, right?
Yeah.
It happens a lot, and it can be very frustrating when you start to forget things. As well our short-term memory and our long-term memory. So some people's long-term memory is better than their short-term memory. When you start losing your short-term memory, it can become very repetitive.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the noun, it's the things that you have in your mind that you remember. Maybe correctly, maybe sometimes you don't remember very well. Yeah, a memory. Okay. Guys, what about remember and remind?
We have these 2 words. Memories are in my mind. Good. I remember things that I do or studied, and something that I don't do reminds me.
Yeah, so definitely memories are in my mind. I remember things that I do or I did in the past. So it's the verb to remember. But we have to
And then
remember.
to remind as well.
To remember or to remind. What's the difference? Maybe can we give them some examples? Jess, can you give them an example with remember?
Yes, so I remember when I was 7 that I was very happy to be 7. Random. Actually, it was strange. On my 7th birthday, I said to my dad, I was like, I like being 7. 7 is good for me.
7's a good age.
7 is good.
We could stay at the age that we prefer.
For me, it was 7. I wanted to be 7. I was very happy being 7.
Yeah, it's like you feel like a little bit older than when you're a baby, or you feel like you have a little bit more independence.
Like, I'm 7 now.
Yeah, I'm a grown up. What about with remind?
To remind. So I can. So, for example, today, Emily sent me a text to remind me that we had a webinar together this evening.
Yeah, so today, Emily reminded me that we have a webinar. I remember when I was 7. Emily reminded me. What's the difference? I think this is one thing that people often get confused with. They use remind instead of remember. Possibly because in Italian they use the same word. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can tell us.
So I remember. I can remind someone, or something can remind me. I think I wanted to say like one is active and one is passive, but they're both active actually.
But maybe this use, yeah.
I can go, oh, that reminds me.
Okay, shall we give them the answer? I think maybe they don't know. Okay, so remember is something I do myself, or a person does themselves with no help. I remember, you remember, he remembers. We have one person remembering in their mind. Okay, Jess, what about remind?
Remind is when someone or something helps you to remember.
It's excellent. Yeah, so there's not one person. There's usually 2 people. Emily reminds Jess. Jess reminds Emily. The situation reminds me. We have 2 different things. Okay. And the last one was memorize. Guys, can you tell us, what does it mean to memorize? Are you good at memorizing things, Jess?
Terrible. Actually, I think I have a selective memorize thing because I'm very good at memorizing lines for plays and like stage work, memorizing movement. But when it comes to memorizing things for an exam, terrible. When it comes to memorizing new vocabulary in Italian, terrible. So it's like I have a very specific memorizing ability.
It's selective.
Selective, yeah, good.
For me, it was the times tables at school that I was terrible at memorizing. So times tables are like when we do 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. These are times tables. I was really bad at memorizing them. Maybe not the 2s, but the 7s, the 8s. Is anybody still with us? Everyone's very quiet. We definitely had Marcello and Antonio. Can you tell us, what does it mean to memorize? Vocabulary, times tables, historical facts.
You have to work to memorize.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe we could describe it as to practice. So you practice so that you will remember in the future. So you repeat 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And you make yourself remember. Wow, Marcello, perfect. Yeah, to record in my brain. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to record in my brain. Good. Okay, guys, let's move on. Jess, do you want to read the questions for us?
Yes. Memory. What is your earliest memory? Do you remember much from your childhood? Which sounds or smells remind you of moments from your childhood? Do you ever feel nostalgic about your childhood?
Excellent, guys. So you can answer any of these questions if you have an interesting answer for any of these. Jess, do you have an interesting answer for one of these questions?
If I smell, wait, hang on. Okay, if I smell like a pastry, but like a cheesy kind of pastry, very specific smell, it makes me remember walking into my grandma's kitchen, and she would always make these like cheese straws, like these little pastry cheese straws that I loved them so much. So whenever I smell that, I think about my grandma's kitchen.
Oh, that's really nice. Very specific too. Cheesy pastry.
Very specific.
For me, I think maybe my granddad used to have an allotment. So an allotment is where you grow fruit and vegetables, like a small area of land, maybe in the garden or in a different place. And so whenever I go to a place where there is an allotment, I always remember my granddad and the kind of the smell of the earth, of the plants. Yeah. Sorry, one tea allotment. This reminds me of my granddad. When I see strawberries, when I taste strawberries.
Nice. I love strawberries. Strawberries are coming into season.
Yeah, we can eat strawberries soon. What about you guys? What do you remember from your childhood?
When I hear the sound of a motorbike, it reminds me of my dad because he rides lots of motorbikes.
Ah, nice. Yeah, so even sounds can help us to remember.
When you hear a song, maybe it reminds you of a specific moment in your past or of a person.
Yeah, I think when I would think of music from the 1970s, it makes me think of my dad because he always used to play like the pop music of the time at home. We used to dance around in the living room.
Oh, that's so nice.
Reminds me of my dad. Jess, do you feel nostalgic?
I don't really.
No.
I was feeling nostalgic the other day, but it wasn't my childhood, it was my university.
Ah, okay.
I was looking at pictures of my old dance school and everyone, and it made me feel very nostalgic.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe I feel nostalgic about university. I went to university a longer time ago than you. So it feels very long ago now. Yeah. Again, I guess the friendships that you build in that kind of environment.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Marcello, if I smell something citrus, maybe we would say citrus, suddenly brings me memories from my childhood. Nice.
Why? What was
Yeah,
citrusy about your childhood?
yeah, interesting thing, citrus. I really like it if it's unexpected.
Nice. Hi.
Hi, Tiziana
And
and
Dennis.
Sole.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. So, please answer these four, well, any question you like.
Yeah, any nice memories? Your earliest memory, maybe.
What's your favorite memory?
My earliest memory, I think, is very boring. I don't know if boring is the right word. It's sitting on the sofa. And I remember exactly the texture of the sofa and the color. It was really like 1970s, kind of a brown, quite a rough texture. And I don't know why. I can still remember exactly how it feels today. But it wasn't very exciting. Nothing happened. And you?
Just of the sofa. My earliest memory, it's funny because it's like I can see it rather than like remembering it from me. I can like see the scene. But I was sat in my pushchair and I was eating an ice cream. But instead of eating an ice cream the normal way, I was eating it from the bottom up. And so by the time I got to the top, all of the ice cream was all over me. Because like I went to mix the ice cream, but it all come through. Such a mess.
Wow.
I think that's where I got the name Messy Jessie.
Oh, yeah, it rhymes.
Yeah.
Nice. So this is, I remember that I always fell down when I walked. I did. Why? So did you, was there a reason
Yeah.
you always fell down? I guess when we use always, we would use the past simple. Not present perfect.
One of my memories was my grandparents preparing, oh, tagliatelle. I'm so jealous. For all the family on Christmas time. All the living room was covered by tagliatelle. Cool.
Wow.
The whole living room was covered. The whole living room.
Yeah. This is more common in English to say the whole, the entire. Definitely. Nice. Very Italian memory. I don't know how many British people remember this.
Because I didn't used to see where I walked. I was a weird baby. Oh.
Maybe I would say I didn't used to watch. Like when you're careful.
Yeah.
See is like maybe I couldn't see because it was dark.
And also in English, something that you may hear is if me and Emily are walking and maybe I see something that Emily could trip on, fall over, I could say, watch your step. You'll hear that a lot. Watch your step. Or even watch out.
Yeah. So when we talk about something kind of being careful or noticing, yeah, watch your step, watch out. Watch where you're walking. Excellent. Marcello has the reason he likes citrus smells. I grew up in the countryside near the orange plantation.
Cool. Very nice.
Excellent. So orange as an adjective, we just need no S. So depends if it's singular or plural, but orange plantation or orange plantations. Excellent. Okay, shall we move on to some vocabulary, Jess?
Yes.
There's some interesting vocabulary here. Okay, so here we have some phrases and their meanings. Jess, do you want to read the phrases for me?
Yeah, we've got throw tantrums, get into trouble, be a picky eater, be told off, share your toys, look up to, make fun of.
Good. And the definitions: be reprimanded by an adult, cry and roll around on the floor, ridicule or laugh at, be fussy about food, respect or admire, allow other kids to touch your things, and suffer punishment for doing wrong. So can you guys match these two columns? So just throw tantrums.
Did you used to throw tantrums?
Not really. I was very calm as a child. Maybe sometimes, but I don't remember. And you?
From the age of 1 to 3, I threw tantrums a lot. But then I calmed down from like 5 onwards.
Yeah, the terrible twos.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the terrible twos.
Yeah, so the toddler age, the terrible twos. Maybe because we're frustrated, we can't express ourselves, so we throw a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
And as Solly says, yeah, it's to cry and roll around on the floor.
Good, very good.
Get into trouble. Again, Solly says to suffer punishment for doing something wrong. Yeah. Good. What about the next one?
To be a picky eater. I definitely was not a picky eater.
Really good. I'm sure your parents were happy with that.
Yeah, I literally ate everything.
Yes, Dolly, perfect. To be fussy about food.
Well done, good.
Yeah, so fussy, picky, choosy. Soleil is really quick. Number 4, to be reprimanded by an adult.
Excellent.
Tiziana, perfect. Yeah, to be fussy is for number 3.
Mm-hmm.
What about now, Jess? Are you fussy?
No. Still not fussy. I'll still eat
Still
anything.
Not fussy. Yeah, I was the opposite. I was quite fussy as a child. There were lots of tastes that I didn't like, especially strong things.
Yeah.
I've got less fussy now I'm an adult. Marcello, perfect. Share your toys to allow other kids to touch your things.
Good. Respect, look up to.
Mm-hmm.
And make fun of others. Wow, Solly, you're on a very good
Very quick.
You're on a roll. To be
Definitely.
on a roll means that you're going good.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say you're on a roll. I don't know why we say that. Maybe because the ball is going.
Yeah, the ball.
Stop it. To look up to, to respect or admire, Marcello. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, let's have a look at the grammar for today. So we have used to and would. So as you can see, we can use used to in the past to talk about something that was true, but isn't true anymore. For example, I used to be blonde. Now I'm a redhead. Jess, do you want to read the next one?
We can use used to or would in the past to talk about habitual actions. I used to go to the open air cinema with my boyfriend. We would cuddle and eat popcorn.
And would is usually nostalgic. We would walk along the beach at sunset without a care in the world. Excellent. So yeah, these are 2 different ways to talk about the past. And usually we follow it with the infinitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to walk. I would walk. The only one thing to be careful about is maybe in example number 1, I used to be blonde. Here it's not possible to use would. So when I'm talking about my appearance in the past, my personality, or when I talk about a stative verb, for example, like, love, hate, don't use would.
No would.
Let's have a question. What did you used to look like when you were at school? Guys, tell us, what did you used to look like? Jess, what about you?
I used to have long hair that was very thick and curly. And I had braces for a little bit. I basically look the same right now as I did.
Okay, a younger version.
With a younger version. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I haven't changed.
Did you used to be quite tall or quite short in comparison?
I guess like I was medium. There was one point, when suddenly all the girls grow and all the guys are really short, and then you come back after the summer holiday and suddenly it's like they're taller.
Yeah.
It's strange. No, I was like a medium height. Average.
Yeah, so in English you would say growth spurt. When somebody suddenly grows, like you said, usually boys have a growth spurt.
Yeah. Mine was very gradual.
It wasn't noticeable. I used to be quite tall in comparison to my classmates. And then I just stopped growing. And everybody else had a growth spurt. And now I'm quite short in comparison.
It's strange how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah. I never felt short until maybe I was in high school. Then I started to feel short.
Yeah. I remember it was funny, like getting into year 11, which is the last year of high school, and then looking at the year 7s, and year 7s are the first year, and think they are so small. Like
children.
Was I really that small 5 years ago?
Yeah. I guess, in high school you change a lot. You kind of mature so much. You enter as a child and you leave as an adult, basically.
Yeah, it's crazy, the transformation.
Yeah. So guys, please tell us, what did you used to look like at school? Maybe your hair, your height, your weight, any features, glasses, anything like that.
Yeah, Sole, I want to know, what did you used to look like?
Yeah, Marcello too. And
who else have we got?
Tiziana and
Stella.
Antonio, if you're still with us. I used to have really similar hair to now. I used to have really thin hair, quite long. At one point, I cut my hair into a bob, just like when you have short hair. I didn't like it, so I never did it again.
I actually feel like you'd really suit a bob.
Yeah, maybe I'll try again. Maybe after this quarantine is over, just to celebrate and do something new. I'll have a bob. Jess, did you used to wear glasses?
No, I mean, I was supposed to in primary school, but they were very, very weak, and I thought they were pointless, and they made me look very ridiculous. So I hid them, and I told my mum that I had lost them, but I hid them so well that I actually ended up losing them.
Wow, it became true.
Okay. I used to have blonde hair, and I used to be addicted to the gym, healthcare. So I was super skinny, and nobody knows I used to have glasses.
Mm, nice. So yeah, addicted to. Ah, okay. So do you mean like on your mouse? So I think Jess mentioned this earlier. We would say braces, like a metal thing in your mouth. So Jess, you used to have braces.
Yeah, I even had a head brace at one point.
A head brace. Wow.
Mm.
Around.
I was an unfortunate child.
I had a retainer. I don't know if anyone's heard of a retainer.
I still wear my retainer.
Wow. Still
And
now.
yeah, sometimes I can't go to sleep without it because I've spent so many years. And if I don't wear it for a long period of time and then I put it back in, I can feel it's tight again because my teeth are still shifting.
So yeah, guys, a retainer is a bit different to a brace because it's something you can take out. It's usually made of like a plasticky material.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because your jaw, so this part here, doesn't match the top. So it's like to change the shape of your face a little bit. Yeah, I hated my retainer. A bit like you, at one point I refused to wear it. I remember throwing it against the wall, like I'm not wearing it anymore.
I did that with my head brace.
Yeah. When you're a child, it seems very unfair.
Yeah.
But it's all for good reason. So we have braces or a retainer if it's something you can remove.
But I remember my braces appointment. They were horrible.
How many years of retainer? Jess, how many years have you worn a retainer?
I've been wearing my retainer for like, how old am I? When did I get it? I think I've been wearing my retainer for like 10 years.
10 years, wow.
But like I've had different ones.
Yeah, you change.
They've changed. Like I always would lose it or break it and I get replacements.
Yeah.
But they told me that I was going to have to wear it until I was 21. Anyway. So.
Okay. So you knew what to expect.
Yeah. But it was never during the day. It was just something at night.
Yeah,
and
me too.
It was just to keep my teeth from shifting because my braces did so much work that it's very easy for your teeth just to fall back into their original place. So that's why it's really important to wear your retainer.
Yeah, to keep them in a good place. Machado says, I used to use braces and after the retainer for 2 years. Yeah. For me, I think it was about 2 or 3 years, the same. Wow.
I can't really imagine me not wearing my retainer. I shouldn't wear it anymore. I don't need to, according to what the dentist told me. But I just think I'll wear it for a few more years.
Yeah, it's difficult to say goodbye after 10 years, I guess. Okay, let's have a look at some more questions about your childhood. Okay, so here we have the phrasal verbs. And we want you to create questions for us using used to or would. So you can ask me or Jess any question, but it obviously needs to be correctly formed. So we won't answer any questions if the form is not correct. You have to try again.
Should we do the example ones while we wait?
Yeah, let's try.
So, did you used to throw tantrums? I already asked you this.
Not really. I was a very quiet and calm child, but maybe in the terrible twos, I can't remember. Possibly I threw tantrums.
I'm the same. Terrible twos, so many tantrums, and then after I became a very shy, sweet little girl.
Yeah, I think it's that period that is difficult for parents. Jess, what about the next one? As a child, would you share your toys with other children?
don't remember. I feel like I did. Like me and my friend grew up with each other next door, so we would share everything.
Yeah, you don't remember fighting over
No.
toys. Yeah, me too. I was very good at sharing my toys. Maybe not with my brothers. With my friends, yeah, but my brothers used to try and steal my toys, and I got quite angry.
All right. Did you used to share toys? Good.
Yeah.
You used to be a picky eater.
Mm.
Why on the end?
Oh, what's the opposite?
A good eater. Just a good eater.
Yeah, parents would be like, "Yeah, my child is a good eater."
Yeah. I would literally eat everything that was put in front of me.
Mm. You're
I
the
love,
dream, a parent's dream.
yeah.
Yeah, I was a picky eater, I think. I was quite a picky eater. Okay, so you have some more. We have look up to, make fun of, be told off, get into trouble. So if you guys want to make some questions for us with these phrasal verbs, and with used to or with would.
Because it's funny as well because I am an only child, so I don't have any brothers or sisters. But I love, and they always say like only children don't like sharing things because they're used to having everything. For me, I think I just wanted someone that I could share with. So like even now as an adult, I love sharing and giving out things.
Yeah, having that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe, yeah, I would say maybe it's the opposite. Like when you have a lot of brothers and sisters, maybe you get angry because you're more used to people taking your things.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it as a relationship thing. You see it as like more as an angry thing.
That's something I hate about, but it's like someone says, if I go, oh yeah, I'm an only child, and they go, oh, that makes so much sense. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, a bit rude.
And like that's the thing that I don't like as well about like zodiac signs. I just stop telling people because otherwise they just assume that they know you.
Yeah, they label you. I
because
agree.
you're this sign, it means you're this type of person. Like, just don't get it.
Definitely. Everyone is individual. What was the trouble you often used to make?
Good question.
Is interesting question.
I would go missing a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I went missing 3 times on like 3 big occasions.
When you were like a child or when you were a teenager?
When I was a child. So 2 times were in an airport. 1 time was when I was very, very young, like 3, just learning to walk, a toddler. My mum was sat reading. My dad went off to go and get coffees. My dad thought that I was staying with my mum. My mum thought I was going with my dad. And obviously, I just went to follow my dad and wandered off. But my dad obviously wasn't aware that I was with him. And he came back with the coffees and was like, "Where's Jess?" And my mum was reading, like, "What?" Panic.
Scary.
I think I was like a bit older, like 6 or 7. And I was at the airport again. And I don't know, I just walked off. I'm not intent, like, I thought it was fine. So I remember I was looking at magazines or something in a store. And I remember there were so many armed police and guards running everywhere. And then I heard like the speakers and they were saying, has anyone seen a young girl, brunette, last seen wearing blah, 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 blah. And I remember I walked back into the main area and I saw my mum stood in the middle of all of these like police officers in black with guns. And I just went over and I was like, what's going on? My mum, like, I've never seen like a human body become so animalistic. It's crazy. She was like, her whole body was like hunched over, like in despair. It was crazy.
Yeah, it must be so scary for a parent.
And then when I was 4, I went missing on a farm, and that was scary. because farms are dangerous.
Yeah. So it wasn't really intentional trouble, but it was quite big.
It caused trouble for people around me. But I was always fine, just like.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I never really intentionally caused trouble. Maybe I was very sensitive. So when I was upset, I would come home and I would cry and I would complain to my parents. At one point, I moved schools because I didn't like the school. I was a very emotional child. So I think my parents always had to be very careful to take care of me. So yeah, it wasn't really intentional, but maybe it caused some stress for my parents. Okay, guys, we have 4 minutes left. So if you have any final questions, any doubts about the vocabulary we talked about, please let us know. Shall we have a quick recap of some things, Jess?
Yeah.
Is there anything you think we should recap?
I think we should have a look at memory.
Excellent.
Bad baby Jess. Yes, Ollie, I was bad baby Jess. So we have the noun, memory, things that we store in our mind.
Then we have the verb, which is remember, when you only have one person. So it's kind of a reflexive sense. I remember. You remember. We don't need anybody else. We don't need anything else.
Then we have remind. So when someone or something reminds you of a memory.
So we need two things. And lastly, we have memorize, which is when you practice. I think as Marcello says, you record something in your mind. It's like you intentionally try to remember, usually when you're studying.
Then we had a growth spurt, which is when children suddenly grow very quickly. We call this a growth spurt.
Yeah, I guess maybe after the age of 11, people start to have growth spurts. Excellent.
And we do not use would when we're talking about our appearance, our personality, or a stative verb.
So be careful not to use it in this situation.
I love and hate.
Perfect.
Have. Struggling to think of others.
We also talked about braces, which is the metal thing that you put in your mouth.
Brace.
Straighten your teeth. Or a retainer, which is something you take out, usually put in at night time. Maybe to keep your teeth in place or to keep your jaw, your face in place. I got memories. I've got to memorize, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to memorize that dance.
Yeah, so maybe if Jess is doing a show, she has to memorize the dance. Perfect. So it's intentional. I think if you spell it with an S or a Z, it's okay. Memorize with a Z would be more American.
Okay.
But with an S is more British. Okay. Bye, Antonio. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Okay. Maybe in the last minute, let's have a very quick review of the phrasal verbs. So the ones to remember, throw tantrums is to cry and roll around on the floor.
To get into trouble is to suffer punishment for doing wrong.
To be a picky eater is to be fussy about food.
To be told off, to be reprimanded by an adult.
To share your toys, to allow other kids to touch your things.
To look up to respect and admire.
And to make fun of, to ridicule, or to laugh at.
Marcello, great. As a child, I I didn't used to be told off. I used to be so embarrassed if it would happen. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So the negative, I used to, I didn't used to. Sorry, I didn't used to be. Okay, guys, thank you very much for sharing your memories with us.
Thank you all. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy your dinner. See you next time.
It's dinner time. Enjoy, guys. Bye. See you.